Good morning, Blake.
Morning.
I appreciate your participation with my activity today. And actually, Blake, what we're going over today not only is going to help you meet your IEP goal, but it's also going to help you with what you're actually doing in your math class right now and using multiplication, as we worked last week together on multiplying large numbers. And you in your classroom was doing that with decimals. So what we're actually learning today, please use this in what you're doing in your classroom, in your math class right now, because I know this is what you're working on. As today's objective is to multiply two-digit multiples of 10 by two-digit numbers using the associative property. So I'd like for you to use this highlighter and highlight any word in this objective that you do not know what it means. Do that now. Okay. All right, so you have highlighted the word associative. Say associative.
Associative.
Okay, good. As we go through the lesson, and I am using terms that you do not know, we can refer to our vocabulary sheet. So you can see that the associative property basically states that numbers can be multiplied in any order and it does not change the answer. So the associative property is basically what we're applying. We're going to be looking at numbers and breaking them down in multiples of 10. You know why?
Why?
Right here. Because using multiples of 10 makes some math easier. So when you multiply by tens and just a one-digit number by, say, a three-digit number, it's a little bit easier than multiplying a two-digit number by a three-digit number. Okay? All right. So we have our vocabulary list here. If I refer to some words that you don't know, we can use that. So I would like for you, as a review, because these are some skills that you're going to need in order to do mental math, okay? So we're going to look at patterns of 10 right here. So with this pencil, you can go ahead and grab that pencil. As a review of the previous skills that we have done, I would like for you to take just a couple of minutes and solve these problems. You can do that now. Okay, good. Can you explain to me, say for example, what were you visualizing in your head when you solved this?
Well, as I was going along, I put that number, and I put the 0. So that's so let's say I have 5, and 5 times 1,000. I put the 5 down and then put the 3 zeros. So
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah. So you're looking at all the numbers except for the zeros. 5 times 1 is 5, and then however many zeros you have, you're recording, right? Okay. So use that and apply that skill that you've learned previously to help you in what we're doing today, because we're looking at multiples of 10. Okay. So on the computer screen, I have the worksheet that you're following along with. And so to help us get started to develop our lesson today, I would like for you to follow along as I read the problem that we're going to look at, to help us identify easy multiplication using multiples of 10 with the associative property. So here we go. Mr. Green planted 10 rows of beans, 10 rows of corn, and 10 rows of tomatoes. Bless you. And 10 rows of squash. What is the total number of plants in his garden? So what is the problem asking us to find?
It's asking us to look at the numbers and basically add them up. Well, not adding, but multiplying.
Use that highlighter and highlight what the question is asking you to solve. Good. That's right. What is the total number of plants in his garden? I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to think through that problem and what you would do to solve that, and do your scratch work here in this space with your pencil.
Wait, so this is the same problem?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So you have your answer already?
Yep.
Okay. And what did you put for your answer?
40.
How did you get 40?
I got it by 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40.
Oh, okay. I see. Now, what if in each row there are 22 plants? That's a real important detail. Okay? So we would have to know how many plants are in each row. So keep thinking through that.
Okay.
We're looking for how many plants he has in all. Because, see, there's 10 rows. You have 10 rows of beans. But then you have to, well, how many plants are in each row? And there's 22 plants in each row.
I got my answer.
Okay. 88. All right, go ahead and write that down. Okay. How did you get 88?
So there's 22. So I got my 2, 4, 6, 8. And then I knew that 2 times 4 again would be 8.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the computer screen, if you would, please, right here. And I'm going to draw a quick little picture. Here's Mr. Green's garden. He has 10 rows of beans, 10 rows of tomatoes, 10 rows of squash, and 10 rows of corn. Okay? So, altogether, how many rows does he have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
Well, this represents a row. So how many in each row?
10.
There's 10 plants. There's 10 in 10 in each. He has 10 rows, and in each row there's 22 plants. Okay, so that's like 10 rows of corn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 rows of squash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in each of those rows, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In each of those rows, there's 22 plants. So do you think that 88 is a reasonable number if there's 22 plants in each of those rows?
22 is a reasonable number.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's a bunch of rows. How many rows altogether?
22.
There's 22 plants in each row.
Oh, yeah.
So this would be like, there's 22 plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 22. So if these are the number of rows, how many rows all together? 40. There's going to be 40 rows altogether. And each row has 22.
And that would be... And that would be in the 3,000.
So it would be more than 88, is that correct? Okay, so let's take a look at how we can use math and write an equation for this picture to help solve that problem. Okay. So what we decided and what we came up with was that there's 40 rows and there's 22 plants in each row. So do you know how you could write a math equation? How would you write that out using what operation? Addition, multiplication, subtraction? What operation would you use to solve that?
You could either do just the numbers themselves, like 40 plus 22, or you could do Mr. Jenkins has 40 apples, and a little boy gives him 22. How much does he have in all?
So would that, if you're looking for something in all, would that be addition or multiplication?
Addition.
It could be addition. And
multiplication.
Right, because multiplication is just repeated addition. All right, so the operation, the number sentence that you would write would be 40 times 22. Because we have 40 rows all together, and there's 22 plants in each of those rows. Now today's goal, Blake, is to be able to look at this problem and determine how you could solve it easy without having to do long multiplication, say a 2-digit by a 2-digit. So what in your head is easier to multiply? I'll put it in red. This is choice A, B, C.
C.
Which one is easier for you?
C.
I think so. And that's what our objective is here, is to be able to get a number like this and put it in an easier form to use multiplication. Okay? And that's what the associative property tells us, because the order in which we multiply numbers does not change the product, the answer in multiplication. All right? So, using the associative property, I want you to pay attention to the board here, and I'm going to show you how that can be broken down. Because we're just going to regroup them by breaking down 40 into 4 times 10. What is 4 times 10?
4 times 10 is 40.
Yep. And then we still have to use that 22 right there. So what we just did was broke down our 40 into 4 times 10.
It's the answer of 762.
Use your calculator and see if that's correct.
4, oh, it's not. 40.
Okay, so we have our 40.
Yep.
Oh, but it's multiplication. I think you punched in addition.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so that's how come that answer would not be reasonable.
Oh.
So right now what I'm showing you is how to break this down to make it a 1 digit by times a 3 digit instead of a 2 digit by 2 digit, because that's what you said was that 1 digit by a 3 digit is easier. And we do that by just changing the group. Okay, so right here I'm going to use red to show that's the group. That's how we got 40. But I can put 10 times 20 in a group, and it's not going to change my answer whenever I do the final multiplication. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply 120 times 10. Oh, wait, this should be 22. So this is the part that we reviewed in our warm-up. So 10 times 22, you can use scratch paper, is what?
10 times 22?
Yep, use what we did in our review. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah, the review?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just how you did these right here. That's the same
okay.
deal. So you're thinking in your head 1 times 22, and then you have that 0.
221.
1 times 20?
No, 222.
What is 1 times 22?
1 times 22 is 22.
And how many zeros do we have?
0. 1. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right, so that would be 220. All right, so in your head right now, I want you to look at that and that. This is choice A. This is choice B. Which problem do you think is easier in your head? Choice A or B? Choice B. And that's what you've chosen both times I've asked the question. And it's probably because in our heads, it just, a 1 digit by a 3 digit is easier. Plus, this has a nice multiple of 10 to it, okay? Now, I would like for you to use your calculator and solve this problem right here. So punch in 40 times 22. Try again. 40 times 22.
40 and 22. 880. Yep, that adds up.
880. Now,
2 times 4 is 8. Do that on that too. Keep the 0.
okay.
Yep, 880.
And so that's the mental math you just did in your head. Because you said 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 2 is 8. So that's the point of the entire lesson, Blake, is to help you to kind of work with numbers so that you can get them in groups of 10s, because 10s are so much easier to do in your head. And that's really what our lesson is all about today. So you got that. Great. How did we get to that, though? See, because this is going to equal the same thing as that. What did I do to 40? What did I do to 40 right here?
Oh, here?
Yeah, what did I do?
Took the 0 away and put it in a 10.
I broke it up into 4 times 10. And if you notice that all of these numbers are these numbers are the same. Okay? So you can see in yellow that the numbers did not change. What did change?
Not the answer, the problem.
What changed is where I put the parentheses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So up here, it was 40 times 10. But then down here, I grouped the 10 and the 22, and that made the problem look different because I multiplied different numbers, but the product, the answer to the multiplication, is the same. Do you have any questions about any of that so far? Okay. Let's take a look at some practice work I have here for you. Okay. This is the guided work here. So this is where we were, 40 times 22. And so using the example on the TV screen there, this is your opportunity to go through and get some practice. So we took the 40 and broke it down into 4 times what?
4 times 10.
Okay, write that down. And then the 22 stayed the same. So we're not breaking that down. We're looking at the number that is a multiple of 10. 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay? And so put parentheses right there. You do it. Put the parentheses there because that's right here. Yeah, because that's how we got the 4 times 10 is because we broke down 40. And now you were going to put the parentheses here, so do that. Let's go ahead and fill in. So looking at the, I need to get that. All right, so here, these numbers are going to all stay the same because all you're going to change are the parentheses. So what goes there? Okay, what goes there? Okay. And so all you're going to change is the parentheses. Where are you going to put your parentheses? It's going to have to be 2. You're going to be multiplying 2 numbers, so that's correct. You had it right. Yep. So we had our 40, and we broke that down. But we did that so that we could get the 10 over here to multiply it by the 22. Okay. So now, yeah. So now this is what you're going to multiply right here. Okay. You can actually use your calculator for that part, or you can do the mental math like you did in our review. 10 times 22.
10 times 22 is 8, and no. So what was it?
Right here.
220.
Write that down. Okay, now remember that all we did was change the parentheses, which made a different group.
And also you just add the 0 to that.
You could do that whenever you're multiplying your 10 times 2. So you can actually use your calculator now or do mental math. 4 times, this is 220. Do that now.
Yep.
And that's what...
Wait, you mean 220?
Yep.
Yeah, 220.
That's what this number is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, it is 880.
That's right. Good mental math, too. So Mr. Green is going to have a total of 880 plants in his garden. And his garden has 10 rows of beans, 10 rows of corn, 10 rows of tomatoes, and 10 rows of squash. And every one of those rows has 22 plants in it.
Oh, because I thought he had 10 in each row. That's why.
Uh-huh. So it's 10 rows. And then in each of those rows is 22 plants.
Okay.
So 40 rows altogether, and each of those 40 rows has 22 plants.
Okay, I see.
So that's the real life application, like why you would use the multiplication in the first place. And if you don't have calculator handy, you're going to look for, this is called a multiple
of 10.
Yeah. You always want to get your numbers in groups of 10 when possible. All right, so here's an example B. I'm going to see if you can do that one. Do that one. We're going to break down the 50.
So what?
So right now, all you're doing is breaking down 50 into 5 times something.
Oh.
What is this number?
5.
5 times 5 is 25. You're looking for 5 times something that's going to equal 50. This is a multiple of...
Okay, wait.
Correct. Okay? So all these numbers are going to be the same. All you're going to do here on this row is change where you group some numbers by changing your parentheses. So what goes there?
Here?
Yep. in the box?
10.
Yep. And here? Okay. So the 5 stays the same here, and now you need to do your...
42.
Yep.
Let's see.
You can use your calculator if you want.
$320.
Okay, write that down.
Right here? Right there.
Because we still need to multiply that by 5. So all we've done is just kind of took the 2-digit by 2-digit, broke it down so that we have just a 1-digit now by a 3-digit.
So... $150? No, I did the wrong way.
This is what you're punching into your calculator.
600.
Try again.
5 times 320. I did that.
Okay.
$1,600.
That's correct. All right. So remember the reason why we did why you want to change the groups like that using the associative property that tells us that the order in which we multiply numbers doesn't matter. You can multiply numbers in any order and you're going to always get the same product, the answer to a multiplication problem. So looking at the screen, you agree that this way here is an easier way to do multiplication? And so that's the reason why we are going over this objective, which is to multiply our 2 digits multiples, okay, by tens. So the word was associative. I've used it a few times here in our lesson. In your own words, could you tell me what the associative property tells you?
The associative property is it's basically that you can separate a number, but it'll still be the same.
Yeah. You can take the number, you can multiply numbers in any order and you'll still get the same product. For example, you can multiply 40 times 22. You can break that up because in any multiplication statement that still equals, say like 40, we took 40 and broke it up into 4 times 10. And it does not change the answer to a multiplication problem because these two statements, 40 times 22 does equal 888, and 4 times 22 equals 888. And although the numbers are different, it still equals the same thing. Do you have any questions about any of the work that we've done today? Okay. And so here's some other examples that you can look at. And so for your practice work, we'll spend a little bit of time solving this one on your own. Okay?